I'm a program manager at Google, and thank you so much for joining me for this presentation. We're going to discuss applied digital skills today, and I'm going to be joined by my colleague Kamar Galloway. And so you'll notice next to this video there is a chat window. And any questions that you ask in that chat window, Kamar will have a chance to respond to, or I'll also respond. So thanks again for joining us. I will present a presentation. Awesome. So today I'm going to give you a little background on the applied digital skills design. We will start the If Then Adventure Story project as a student, so you'll get to experience the curriculum as a student. And then finally, we'll add a class, and you'll be prepared to teach. So if you wanted to, you would actually be able to pick this up and begin teaching it as soon as tomorrow. So Applied Digital Skills is an online curriculum. The website is g.co/applieddigitalskills. And because it's an online curriculum, it is completely free. So there are no materials to order. There are no advanced pay-for features. Everything is 100% free. It's designed in a blended learning format that uses videos to deliver the instruction. So because it uses videos, it's self-paced, and it really frees up your time to work one-on-one with students. So in a traditional technology class, a lot of curriculum design starts with the tool. So here's a spreadsheet, and if I'm designing a curriculum around spreadsheets, I might say, oh, students need to know how to format, or students need to know how to use the fill bucket, or students need to know how to graph or chart. And so a lot of digital skills instruction is based on this format, learning how to click these buttons, essentially. So from something like this, you could develop a skill list and say, at the end of this lesson, students are going to know how to bold, italicize, and change fonts in a spreadsheet. You can assess it. Great, wonderful. Students learn all of these skills. But there's a challenge with this approach, and that's that when students get into the real world, they get challenges like this, which are, we need you to find the best vendor for our new product. Can you put together a spreadsheet that outlines all the options? And with a request like this, your student's going to say, like, look, I know how to do this list of things, and you're asking me to do something completely different. Like, nowhere on the skill list is outlining options in a spreadsheet. And from this, your student's going to realize, like, oh, I need to research how to, or I need to research information to include in the spreadsheet. I need to create a spreadsheet to solve a problem. I need to identify important information. I need to analyze data. I need to identify a solution, and I need to communicate my results. And so while starting with skills is wonderful, actually situating those skills in an important context is how students really develop deep understanding of how to use these tools. And so with applied digital skills, all of the skills that we teach are embedded in embedded in a context that students can understand. It's engaging and it's relevant to students. So for example, here is an example project from one of our spreadsheet units. And in it, students research cell phones. So they look at cell phones, they look at cell phone plans. They do a lot of the spreadsheet skills that you saw on that previous slide. Like, you know, they use the fill tool, they use formulas, they add and move rows, they freeze columns and rows. So they learn a lot of skills, but it's all embedded within a context that is meaningful to the student. So that eventually when they get a job that requires them to use spreadsheets, they have that context for how to communicate, how to research, how to evaluate, how to analyze. And so it's applied digital skills belief that digital skills taught in a meaningful, engaging context will prepare students to be successful in any career or field. And so, as I mentioned before, we do all of this through blended learning. So our blended learning model uses video content to engage learners. And in this model, as the teacher, you're really a facilitator where you can walk around, you can support students as they need help. And because it's blended learning, it's all self-paced. So some students in your class may move faster than others. And as a teacher, you could really help those students that need the most help in that format. And students don't necessarily have to wait for all of the students in the class to be at the same spot before they can move on. So Applied Digital Skills is a full semester curriculum. So you can use it for, say like a 90-hour semester, or you could just pick up and use one activity, two activities that might fill one or two classes. We try to make everything as easy as possible for teachers. Like, we understand that teaching is a really, really difficult job. So we provide lesson plans, we provide rubrics, we have student progress tracking, so you can see exactly where all of the students in your class are. It's also pretty flexible. So because we situate these skills within meaningful context, that context can actually change. So you might teach one activity in a technology class, but you could also teach that same activity by changing the theme of it in like a language class, a math class, a government history. So these projects can be embedded into all sorts of different subjects. So now we are going to try it out. But before we do, I'm going to show you an example student project that would be the final outcome from what we're about to do. So one of the first units we recommend teaching is called an if-then adventure story. And in it, it's 2 activities. Each activity fills about 1 class period, so something between 50 and 90 minutes. The 2 activities, the first one is a brainstorming activity where students collaborate in a document to brainstorm narrative elements, so characters, setting, plot. And the second activity, they create that story in a Google Slides presentation, and it's an interactive story with links. So we're going to check out one of those example student projects right now, and we'll try out the ice cream virus. So again, this is a real example project of an outcome from one student completing the if-then adventure story. And I like this one because it's a little it's a little wild. So it's called the ice cream virus. So you walk into an ice cream shop, you have the choice between 3 flavors: strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. And so because this is an if-then adventure story, as the reader, we get 3 options. We can choose chocolate, strawberry, or vanilla. And I am going to choose chocolate. If I can get the slide to let me. So I'm going to choose chocolate. And oh no, shouldn't have picked the chocolate ice cream. You've gotten the flu. The symptoms show within weeks. You see the doctor and you have 2 choices of antibodies: decongestants or antihistamines. And I'm going to choose decongestants. You take the decongestants, they clear up your runny nose, but you've used too much. Now you're in a state known as rebound congestion. You can't breathe. How do you fix this? And I think I'm going to go through withdrawal of nasal congestion. Yay, you've lost the rebound congestion, but you're no longer congested. Congratulations. And so this student has, I don't know, they're like 40 or 50 slides in the story. They were super engaged. And one of the fun things about running this activity with students is seeing how varied all of the student projects are. It is quite a lot of fun. So as I mentioned, we are going to do, sorry, 1 second, just getting back to my slide. We're going to do the first part of this activity as a student. So I'm going to show you how you would start this activity, and I'll play the videos from my computer so you can actually watch along in the YouTube live stream. But to get to our website, it's g.co/applied digital skills. So I'm going to go there now. So this is the homepage. When students first use this, you'll have them sign in and enter a class code so they can join your class. In our situation, we're just going to access the curriculum from the curriculum page. And so from the curriculum, you can see all of the units that we offer. Each unit has a few activities within it. And you can also filter. We have curriculum for middle and high school as well as adults. But for now, we're going to use the if-then adventure story. And from this curriculum page, there are a few resources here for you. You can see the full video outline. So this unit has, about 15 videos. you can access the lesson plans from here. So the lesson plans are all in a Google Docs format. And so if you want to, you can save a copy to your drive. You can make edits to it. You can change it, make it work for however you want. You can share it with your colleagues, all of those things. And in the lesson plan are all of the things that you might expect to see, like learning objective, the skills covered, procedures for running it. You'll also see annotated screenshots. So this is the activity we're about to do, where we brainstorm some story elements. And you'll see that in the lesson plan, as a resource, we provide all of the things you might want to look for as you're walking around and helping students. So you'll want to check to see that they have a name in the document, that they have 10 ideas brainstormed in each category, that they have a summary, that they've selected the story elements, and that they've shared the document. In addition to that lesson plan, we also have a rubric for each unit. And so this rubric is also in a Google Sheets format. And so if you'd like, you can make a copy of this and you can edit it and change it and make it work the best for your class. So this is just the starting point. You can use it as it is, or you can make a copy, edit it, make it work for you. So we are going to start right in the brainstorming story ideas. If you were to have students start this unit, you might have them start at the Google Apps overview. And so this is the first activity page, the first video page in this activity. You notice that there are some instructions on the right-hand side. So you'll see here, we're gonna open the starter project, we're gonna name it, and we're gonna share it. And one of my favorite features for teachers is the transcript. So before teaching this, you're likely to want to watch these videos yourself. But one way to quickly go through them is to just skim the transcript and see whether or not, or I guess just skim it to get familiar with the content. So you can read through. If you see something that you're not familiar with, like, for example, if you're, say, view your shared files and double click it to open it, you're like, oh, I'm not sure how to view shared files. You could click this, it would take you to that spot in the video. And so you could pretty quickly skim through all of these videos to make sure that you're familiar with what students are doing and what's expected of them. So I'm going to play this video. Please watch and follow along. After watching this, I have already created copies of a starter project for us to work in. So you don't need to do anything with a starter project. You can just watch the video now.
In this activity, your group will collaborate to select the setting, characters, and problems for your story. Digital collaboration uses technology to share information, brainstorm ideas, and help groups make decisions. It allows people all over the world to work together in real time. You can collaborate in a document by writing with someone else, adding comments, or suggesting edits. In this activity, you and your group members will brainstorm story elements in a shared document from your own computers. Then you'll add comments to discuss and select which elements you'll include in your story. To start, select one member of your group to create a copy of the starter document and share it with the entire group. This allows everyone in your group to work in the same document. If you are that person, click the starter project linked on this page. Then make a copy. Only one member of your group will make a copy of this document. Rename the document Story Brainstorm. Share it and enter the email address of each group member. Once the document has been shared, open it from your own computer. To open a shared document, go to google.com and select Google Drive. View your shared files and double-click the file to open it. Then return to Google Drive and move the file to My Drive. While the file is still selected, click Add to My Drive. Return to the document. At the top, you should see each person in your group. Once everyone in your group has opened the shared file, move on to the next video to begin brainstorming story elements. Now it's your turn. Select one person in your group to open the starter project and make a copy. Name it Story Brainstorm and share it with your group. Once the file is shared, open it at your own computer and add the file to your drive. Once all your group members have opened the document, move on to the next video.
Okay, awesome. So if your students were working on this, they would follow these instructions now. They would have a group. One person in their group would open the starter project and make a copy, which starter project's linked here. They'd name it Story Brainstorm and share it with your group. And then everybody in the group would open it from their own computer and then move on to the next video. So I have already opened a starter project for us to work in. It looks like we have about 15 people on this call. So what I've done is created 2 starter projects. So if you have a birthday in the first 6 months of the year, please go to this link here, goo.gl/ and I'll put this in the chat box too. And if you have a birthday in the second half of the year, would you please go to this link and open it from your computer? Like I said, I will copy these into the chat window. So I have copied those into the chat window, and I will open them from my computer as well. They are case sensitive, so it'll need to be capital A to lowercase h, to capital U, and then lowercase u. It looks like we have one person in the first group there. And oh, we have 7 people in the second project. If we don't get anybody to join the first project, the person that's there, I might ask you to join our second group. Or anybody that hasn't joined yet, you could join that first group because we only have one person there right now. Okay, so it looks like most of our people are in one of these are in one of these documents. And so we are going to collaborate in this document together, and we'll get instructions for that from the next video. So if you have any questions about this first step, feel free to ask them in that chat window. But otherwise, I am going to move on to the next video, which will give us instructions for how to brainstorm story elements in one of these documents.
Every story has 3 elements: setting, characters, and plot. Each group member will brainstorm different ideas for your story. By the end of this activity, your group should have at least 10 of each possible: settings, characters, and problems. To start brainstorming, first think about the setting for your story. It might be something you know, such as your house, the park, or your school. Or it might be imagined, like the moon, a different planet, or an alternate universe. Be as serious or as wild as you want. Add your ideas to the settings column of your brainstorming document. Next, brainstorm some characters. Perhaps the reader will have an adventure as a deep sea explorer or an archaeologist. Or maybe they're an athlete or an astronaut. The possibilities are endless. You could even choose non-human characters such as a dog or a toaster. Include the characters the reader will encounter along the way, like a friend, an ogre, or a flock of birds. Add your ideas to the characters column. Finally, think about the problems the main character might encounter in these settings. Perhaps the astronaut finds out there's a meteor hurtling towards the planet. Or maybe the deep sea explorer sees a monster and their oxygen tank is almost empty. Record your own ideas for potential problems in the problems column. Separate each idea using bullet points. To create a new bullet point, press enter or return just like you would for a new line. You can create a new bulleted list using the toolbar. When you think of an idea, type it in the document. Later, you'll select ideas from each column to use in your story. For now, though, focus on generating lots of ideas. Check out what this might look like. Nia brainstorms the rainforest as a setting. When Antonio sees that, he adds adventure with wild animals under problems. Molly sees adventure and adds tour guide and vacationer to characters. Even though you might build on each other's ideas, you should still contribute some of your own. Be respectful of others and be careful not to delete what others have added. Keep adding ideas until your group has at least 10 for each story element. Then move on to the next video to select the elements your group will use for your story. Now it's your turn. Add your own ideas to the documents. Your group should have at least 10 settings, 10 characters, and 10 problems before moving on.
Okay, awesome. So now we have released ourselves to begin working in our documents. So once we have 10 settings, 10 characters, and 10 problems in each of the documents, so it looks like we have at least 2 people in each group. So please now contribute, brainstorm some ideas in each of these lists. If you have any questions, again, you can ask them in the chat window. This will probably take us about 5 minutes, but I'll move us forward once it looks like we have some complete lists here for settings, characters, and problems. Okay, it looks like both lists are coming along really well. I'll give about 1 more minute to keep adding to your list. So if you have any final ideas, either add them now or finish up the idea that you're working on. Then we'll come back together and watch the next video where your group will try to select one of the items for each of these categories. Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much for contributing to the projects. I should note that when your students are working on this, that they will be watching the videos at their own computers and moving at their own pace within their group. So if your students were to have a question about how to do something from the video, they'd be able to go back to the video and find that spot and get unstuck. So just a heads up on that. So we're going to watch the next video now. And so in this video, you all are going to get to choose which of these elements you want to select for your story. This is going to be a pretty difficult thing to do over this YouTube live video for you all to select some elements, but we can try it out and see how it works. So I'll play the video, and then your groups can go through and see if you can digitally select the elements for your story.
In this video, your group will select a main character, setting, and problems from your brainstorm list. Then, in the next activity, you'll write a summary of the story you'll create. To start, read the items in your list and add comments about ideas that you would like to use in your story. To add a comment, highlight the text that you like to comment on and click the comment button. Describe specifically what you like about an idea. If someone else in your group has commented on an idea that you like, you can reply to their comment to support it or add additional ideas. Once everyone in your group has read through the list and identified ideas they like using comments, gather your group around one computer to select the setting, characters, and problems for your story. As a group, choose at least one item from each list. There should only be one main character for your story, but they may encounter other characters along the way. Once your group has decided, identify the elements in your brainstorming document. Do this by making the choices bold, commenting on them, changing the font, or changing the color. Next, collaborate to write a summary of the story you plan to write. Underneath the word summary, describe the who, what, when, where, and how of your story. Think of this description like the blurb on the back of a book. Move on once your group has selected your story elements and written a summary. In the next activity, you'll turn these into an interactive story. Now, it's your turn. Read through your group's brainstorm document and add comments on ideas that you like most. Gather with your group around one computer and choose story elements. Indicate your group's choices on the document and write a brief summary.
Okay, so this part is going to be tricky. You all are obviously not in the same room making these decisions, but please go into your document, comment on some choices, and see if your groups can come to a decision about the elements for your future story. And I'll give about 3 or 4 minutes to do this. We might not be able to select them over the internet like this, but let's give it a try. Okay, it looks like both groups are getting closer to making some decisions. If you could try to get your group closer to a decision in the next minute, then we will move forward. And again, it's okay if you don't make a decision because this is where the activity stops. So we're not going to continue on to the second activity. So it's okay if we haven't decided, but let's see if we can make one in each group. Okay, thank you all so much for contributing there. I'll present now just so you all can see what the two groups did. It looks like the first group might have their story set in a bookstore with a bookstore owner and an author at the bookstore, at the book signing. And no one realizes this person is the author for the signing and think he's pulling a prank. He is 10 years old. So I think we've got a pretty good story going there. Let's check out the second one. So there, it looks like there was a lot of conversation going on here. I'm not sure where they ended. It looks like maybe it was the creepy old secret garden with. I'm not sure. So it looks like this group is getting closer to making a decision. They had a lot of interesting conversation. So, like I said, this is a lot of fun to run in a classroom full of students. They can get kind of wild with the ideas that they come up with, and a lot of the stories end up being really fun. Again, like this is one of the things about situating these skills in a meaningful context is that like it's really engaging for students. Like they get really invested in the story ideas, and actually like learning how to collaborate in a document becomes a fun and engaging activity. So this is the last instructional video for this activity. We are going to move forward and watch the wrap-up video. And what the wrap-up video does is just summarize all of the ideas and concepts that a student was working on in that activity. So we'll watch that one real quick.
In this activity, you collaborated with your group to brainstorm story elements. In every career, it's important to be able to work effectively as part of a team, whether it's through team meetings, email, or providing feedback to documents. Just about every job requires some form of collaboration. For example, employees at the A6 Shoe Company collaborate using the same tools you use in this activity. People from all over the company, including designers, marketers, and data scientists, work together to develop new products in smarter, more efficient ways. In the next activity, you'll continue to collaborate with your group to turn the narrative elements you selected in this activity into an interactive story. Click the next arrow to move on.
Okay. So as I mentioned, this is the end of this first activity. This activity can take, about one class period. And especially if like students are getting really invested in their ideas. And after the activity, they can take a short survey, which you can view on your teacher dashboard to let you know what they thought of the activity, what they thought was interesting, and what they thought was difficult before they move forward. So next, I will show you how you can add your own class and begin teaching this content. So the first step is to go to g.co/applied digital skills. To create your own class, you're going to need a Google account. So if you don't already have a Google account, you can create one for free at accounts.google.com/signup. And so on the website, there's a sign in button in the top right-hand corner. When you click that, it'll ask you to select a role. So if you've already done this once, you won't get this menu again. But as a teacher, you'll select the I am an instructor role. Your students, when they sign in, will select the I am a learner role. You'll set up a short profile with email settings, your name, and your location. And then you'll land on your teacher dashboard. So on your teacher dashboard, there's a plus button to add a course. And so a class, and each class will have a unique club code. So this club code is how students can join your class. So at the start of the first class, you'll say to your students, go to g.co/applied digital skills, click sign in, click I'm a learner, and then enter this code. And once they've done that, you'll be able to track their progress. You'll get survey responses, and students will be redirected each time they sign in to the last place they left off. So the first time they sign in, they'll go right to the beginning of that if then adventure story activity. And then each time they sign in after that, they'll go to the last place they left off. So from your dashboard, this is what I was mentioning with the student progress tracker. So you'll be able to see exactly where each of the students in your class are. This is really helpful after you've run the curriculum for a few days, because at the start of each class, you can identify which students are further behind, which ones might need additional support, and then which students are further ahead and which ones might need you to extend the activities a little bit for them. So at the end of each unit, we do have extension videos, which help students continue to add to their projects. But as a teacher, you might identify this group of students is really far ahead. Maybe I should, go talk to them, check in on the project, and see how I can encourage them to, learn new skills, add to the project, and so on. So as I showed before, there are also in-depth lesson plans for each unit. They'll explain all of the things that I'm explaining now. So if you wanted to start the activity for the first time, it'll also show you all the support that you can provide for students. And then we also do provide rubrics. So if you'd like to grade the student projects at the end, you can adapt this rubric to use for your own class. And actually, I am going to show you. So there's also, on that first day with your student, this is what they'll see. So they'll also go to the g.co/applied digital skills, click that sign in button. They'll select I am a learner. And when they select I'm a learner, they'll say, yes, I'm taking this with an instructor, because you are a teacher and they're your students. And then this is where they'll enter that club code. And they'll click get started, and this will take them right to the beginning of that if then adventure activity. They'll have a chance to verify that they're in the right class too. So that takes us right to the end of this presentation. If you have any questions at all, please email applieddigitalskills@google.com. Those emails go right to our team, and we will answer them as soon as we can. As I mentioned, all of this is completely free. You can begin teaching as soon as you'd like. And Kamar and I will hang out for another minute in the chat window. So if y'all have any questions right now that we can answer for you, we'll be happy to answer them in that chat window. And thank you all so much for attending today.